Hi everyone, this is Hiba from My Little Journal, and today I'm going to do a flip through of my finished April 2019 Traveler's Notebook. This Traveler's Notebook is from Studio Calico, and I believe I have probably 15 to 17 spreads in here. So let's start. I always add my month and date. This is a Feed Your Craft, I think it's called Monthly Matters stamp set. Love that stamp set. I also do add what number journal it is, and this one is number 29. First off, I had a large family photo, and I wanted to create a little flip for it, or a fold. So I used some pattern paper. I'm thinking this is from Felicity Jane. I just went ahead and journaled on some vellum, added a large sticker just to add a little interest, and bring in the darkness of that blue from the left side of my spread. So this was a part of the Traveler's Notebook, and the rest I went ahead and added. And creating these folds are so easy, and you can add larger photos like this, or add more journaling if you wanted to. So it's a fun way to do that. Now I believe I used my circle die cuts to cut out one of my 3x4 cards from my documenter kit. Now, if you are a subscriber to Studio Calico and you get the Traveler's Notebook and the Documenter Kit, the colors match. So it was a great way to bring in some of that blue from my Traveler's Notebook, and just trimming out my 3x4 card and using it as an embellishment is one thing that I really love doing. Now, I created this spread, I believe, live on Instagram. And I just used a Studio Calico stamp set, I believe, and stamped out these Polaroids. You can't really see it, but these photos are like backed up with Polaroids, I guess. And I was documenting my love for Game of Thrones and just used a bunch of my Studio Calico stamp sets. I also trimmed out these popcorns from a pattern paper, an old one that has the popcorns, and just kind of used those as embellishments for my spread. This is a simple spread. I love simplicity in my Traveler's Notebook. Now, don't get me wrong, I also do love to add a lot of flowers and embellishments and stuff like that, but sometimes the photo just tells the story and I really don't need to add much. I love the We Live in a Rainbow of Chaos, and just adding a red puffy heart with my black and white photo worked out perfectly. And I'm just kind of documenting my son and his friend at Allstate concert. So it was just something that really didn't have a story, but I wanted to also kind of document it in my Traveler's Notebook. So my niece turned 8, and there's not much to say, but I wanted to add that beautiful photo of her. So I used some Color Cast Design acrylics that said Celebrate, and I just stamped out You. So kind of made my own title there. I also stamped Birthday Queen. These polka dots were a sticker sheet from Studio Calico, and I just added it as confetti. Love how this turned out. I also just added a little wood veneer. Again, you don't have to go all out to be creative and document those photos. Now, the next layout I cannot share. I did that layout for a Studio Calico class. So we're going to skip that and move on to this one, where my son and I, we always go for walks, and I just like to take a photo here and there. And we did stop at Starbucks and grab ourselves some coffee. So I just used my coffee stamps and added some journaling in some of them, uses the rest to kind of create like a little layer of coffee cups. And I really love how this one turned out. Just added my puffy hearts to add some texture and dimension to my spread. It's so simple, so easy. I got to add my journaling, and I got to stamp out these coffee cups. And by the way, anything that I've used in my spreads, I will link them in the description box if they are still available for you guys. Next up, I used a 4x8 photo of my favorite treats. Love me a large hot pretzel. They are so yummy. I always try to grab one when I can. And I just use the heck out of one of my Feed Your Craft stamp sets. I can't remember the name of it, but I just stamped a bunch of the sentiments, the words. I added some puffy stickers from Feed Your Craft. Love it. And I also stamped around my pretzel. I should have probably stamped even in the like center. I think that would have looked cute, but it is what it is. I still love it. documenting my wonderful mother. And I loved this pattern on my traveler's notebook. It had the watermelon and it said, "You're one in a melon." So I kind of went off of that. I based my layout off of that. So what I did was I stamped out Mama Melon and I stamped out all these watermelons. This is a stamp set from Studio Calico. I believe it came in the Traveler's Notebook kit, if I'm not mistaken, or the Documenter kit. Again, I will try to link everything in the description box. I layered my photo, very simple. I also added one of the chipboards in the center of the melon, and I love those little melons. I don't know if you can see the colors, but they are just gorgeous, and that is one of my favorite stamp sets that's come in a kit. The Three Musketeers, my daughter, niece, and nephew are always together, so I just added 1, 2, 3, used this large photo. Now the pattern behind the photo was coming at an angle, so I trimmed out my photo a little bit at an angle, added my journaling, and stamped out "Color Me Happy" and things like that. Love that photo of them. Now, I got so many questions about this layout. I shared it, I believe, on Instagram. I just trimmed out my photos to fit into these labels, and I add my journaling with on some vellum. I got so many questions on how I did that, so I did post later on a video on a different layout using the same types of labels and how I kind of sized my photos to fit in the labels. I'm a true believer, or I'm a huge lover, let's say, that if you have a pattern and your photo can fit in that pattern, then add your photo in that pattern. So if I had, I don't know, a pattern of large apples, I would totally trim out the apples and add my photos in there. It's just a fun, different way to add photos. Of course, you know, the traditional way of just adding, 4x6 or 3x4 is great, but it's also fun to be, think outside the box and add your photos in a different way. Probably you have die cut tags. Use your die cut tags to cut out your photos. That's a great way to use your photos. Just, think outside the box. When I see patterns like this, I'm always gravitated to trim out my photos and make them fit. Now, in this next photo, my son was chosen for the Dr. Hill Award at school, which is a great and amazing honor. So I wanted to document that. I had that photo of him. I added a little journaling. I also used some color cast design acrylic piece that says "let's just" or "let's go," and it said "just lovely." And I stamped out "this boy right here is gonna rule the world," and I truly believe that this kid is gonna rule the world and be something amazing one day. Next up, I wanted to change it up with my large photos. You guys know how much I love my 4x8s, and by the way, I get those printed at Persnickety Prints. But to change it up a little bit, I decided to go ahead and trim down my photo and then kind of add some embellishing or stamping to my photo. And this was a great way to be able to add, more than one embellishment. I used my Feature Craft hexagon stamp. I forgot the name of the stamp set. Let me check real quick. Daily Details stamp set. That's what it's called. And I just used my hexagon punch to punch these out, added them in a line. Kind of it gave that like little edge to my photo, and I love how it turned out. I also used the stamp set to stamp out "what feels like the end is often the beginning." Really cute, simple, but so effective. I really wanted to bring in the yellow from the sun, so I just stamped it a bunch of times in yellow. It's a great, simple spread. Here's a spread where I went all out. I pulled out my Glimmer Hot foil machine, foiled this frame, foiled my title, documenting my son and his friends going to prom. It was junior prom. I also grabbed my acetate stars just to bring in the stars from the left side of the spread. This was a part of the layout or the pattern. So I just wanted, this was actually a great spot to use those acetate stars. I have a lot of them. And also to bring in color to the right side. I've shared this one in my 15-minute challenge. It was a 15-minute layout. Because I trim out all my flowers and stamp them out and have them ready in one of my drawers, I was able to do this spread in 15 minutes. So obviously these were already ready. I just kind of used the flowers to make it look like they're coming out of my son, who I also trimmed out from a 4x8 photo. I used my stamps to stamp out sentiments and words about how I feel about him. And I used the smile and the world smiles with you as my title. So simple. It came together obviously in 15 minutes. And it's one of my favorite spreads in this traveler's notebook. Another photo where my son and his friends were at prom. And I also kept this as simple as possible. I think this traveler's notebook was really, like, it came together really quickly. I used the digital traveler's notebook kit. I cannot remember the Etsy shop, but I will find it and link it in the description box for you guys. But she has adorable kits that are digital and you can print them out at home. I did print out the paper, trimmed it out, the fun, because I wanted to have some space for my journaling, and it just added my journaling on the side. I also used the embellishments that I printed out and just added those kind of like little labels on the side. Really cute. I love that. The circles fit in my punch. These are really easy to trim out. Very, very fun. So this next spread, I believe those flowers are from the ton stamp. They look like something from the ton. I just stamped out my flowers, trimmed them out. I used some 3x4 cards. I trimmed out the Always Be Moving Forward card. And I also backed up my photo with those cards. I was just documenting my son getting his own bank account, journaled about that, stamped story from that same stamp set. And I love that pink with the black and white polka dot. It looks really, really cool. Last but not least, another favorite of mine in this traveler's notebook, I'm documenting my love for ice cream. I trimmed out my ice cream cup from my 4x8 photo. That's why it's so large and in your face. And I wanted to create my own pattern in the background. These acetates came in the traveler's notebook for that month. So I used them to create a pattern in the background. Love how much color it added to my spread. The rainbow pattern was a part of the traveler's notebook. All I did was just stamp happiness right here. It was a circle stamp, and added another acetate as my title and called it done. Love how that one turned out. You can see my spreads are pretty simple. I don't go all out. I do at some points, you know, sometimes I'm trimming and cutting and adding something like this. But I love simple spreads, and I'm sure a lot of you guys do as well. But I also did want to mention before I wrap this up, I've read and heard a lot of comments that are not very nice towards traveler's notebook crafters. I love my traveler's notebooks. I think me creating in a traveler's notebook does not make me not a scrapbooker. I think that's ridiculous. I don't have to scrapbook on a 12x12 or a 6x8, whatever the case is. It doesn't matter what size I'm crafting in. If I want to stick down a photo and a few stickers and call it crafting, that's up to me. Then I'm a crafter. And if I wanted to go all out and add all kinds of pictures and all kinds of embellishments, then that's up to me. It's nobody's business. And I say this to you guys, if you want to document on a Post-it note, then go for it. And don't let anybody say that you are a cop-out or you aren't scrapbooking or whatever the case is. You really don't have to go all out and add a million types of embellishments on one spread to call yourself a scrapbooker or a crafter. You can craft in whatever you want. I watch and follow so many different types of crafters. I follow Bible journalers. I don't do Bible journaling. I think it's beautiful and amazing. I follow people who craft in 12x12s. I don't do 12x12s, but I still love it. I even watch people who document on index cards, you guys, and that's crafting. It doesn't matter what size you're crafting in. It doesn't matter what style you are. If you're just sticking down a photo and writing down your journaling, you are a crafter. Don't let anybody else say otherwise. I just wanted to give my 2 cents because it really upsets me when I see other crafters being mean to other crafters. It's just not nice. So be kind to each other. This is an amazing community. Let's support each other. There's room for everybody. We can all grow and we can all be amazing. If we want to be simple, if we want to embellish, if we don't, if we want to journal or we don't, don't judge. It's okay. It's not your journal. It's not your scrapbooking album. So let that other person be. And you do you, you know? So anyways, I just wanted to put in my 2 cents. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video. And if you did, please give me a thumbs up. And if you are new to my channel, please consider subscribing. And I hope to see you guys very soon. Bye.